Alright, for the last couple days I've been struggling to finish some projects because the drill press is broken. And initially I was just gonna replace it, and I was looking around on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, and then my sister took the car out of town, and she's gonna be out of town for the next couple days, and I really would like a drill press sooner than that. So I'm gonna try to fix this one. Alright, so I don't know that much about electric motors, so when I went ahead and took this all apart to take a look at it, I probably just made it a lot worse. However, I do have this motor. I took this out of my old lathe when I got rid of it. And this motor works well. You can see. So then I went ahead and went up here to the belt, and you can see this is I guess this is what drives the actual chuck, right? And then here, this is what is driven by the motor. So in a perfect world, I could just take this sort of belt wheel off of this one and throw it on this motor and then mount it up. The issue is they're different sizes by quite a lot. This is quite a bit smaller, so it will not fit on there. So I'm thinking I gotta figure out some sort of mount, but then I might put this motor in there, use this belt wheel, and then try to see if I can't tension it up on one of these sizes. That's the idea. We will see as we go. Alright, well that took way longer than I wish it had, but yeah, I'm bummed I had to cut this open, but it's fine. I can pull this all back sort of into shape, and if it's necessary, maybe I'll throw a metal strap across this. So now, the thing to do is going to be to put this on the new motor and put it in there and see if it fits with any belt. Alright, so I made this really crappy template, but there's the center of the motor there, and then two holes where there is some motor mounts, just some holes in the top of the motor. So like, I think if I drill those out, I can get some temporary bolts in there just to hold the motor in place. Alright, so the memory card ran out last night on the camera, but this is where we ended up. You can see I just threw the motor in there with two of these bolts, and yeah, I mean, it's pretty janky, but check it out. I can up here, this switch, it obviously turns on the motor, but if you leave it on and it's plugged in, it also has an RPM sensor, so then I can click it on. Yeah, this RPM thing, I kind of want to wire that in, and I kind of think it'd be cool to have this one switch do everything. I can't see how it'd be any different from this switch. And then I kind of want this down on this ring, because it should give it a little more tension so the belt doesn't slip once I actually am drilling into something. I'm gonna have a bolt back here as well, and then I'm gonna have a stop collar, I think, on top of here. We'll see how it goes, but this is a really good start. I'm also gonna have to figure out, I think, something a little more substantial for the motor mount here. I mean, this is decent, but I don't know. Is it a little too wobbly? I don't know. Maybe it's fine. I don't know. Once I get that third bolt in there, it might be fine. Anyway, more hardware, stop collar, wiring everything in, and this thing might be just about done. And then this gap really it's not ideal, and I had to make it even larger to fit this bolt in because I just mapped out the bolts poorly. So I'm going to put just like an angle iron across these and bolt it together. Alright, so that all came together pretty well, I think. Got clearance for the motor to spin. I just tested it. The belt fits on there pretty nice. It comes off easily too if I ever need to maintain it. The only thing is I couldn't find a stop collar at the hardware store that was big enough. So I think I'm gonna make my own, and it'll just fit on this here and be a little wider so it sort of locks the belt in there. And I bought a little set screw at the hardware store I'm gonna try to thread in there. And then what I could do is like try to get maybe some bracket here. That might be worth doing, like a little L. Maybe I'll do that. Little L's to hold up this. But I'm not gonna try to get anything else fitted to the actual motor because the motor has nowhere to bolt into except for the top. Alright, so I just added in these two brackets here. This guy and this guy. This brackets I had laying around. And now this thing is really completely stable. So I'm not going to worry about any sort of mount on the rest of the motor. I think this is enough. It's ugly, but it's pretty stable. So I need to get a stop collar. So I'm going to head to the lathe and do that. Then I'll figure out the wiring. Well, set screw does thread in there, so I'm gonna throw this on. I just pulled it out, and I did these jumper cables. Let's see, white to white and black to black. I'm just leaving out ground for now. I think that's fine. And I'm just gonna plug it in, switch it on, and we'll see what happens here. Cool. And then the RPM sensor is hooked up to this one actually, so if I could. So there you go. Now it's just a case of actually soldering these all up for real, and I guess setting this ground somewhere, just like in there or something will be fine. Alright, let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so after some terrible soldering jobs, I've got everything connected and wrapped up. Now I'm just doing this final sleeve of heat shrink wrap. And I ran the ground wire up out of the side from either because I know that in the drill press motor it just grounded out to the side of the motor, and on the lathe motor it grounded out at the switch. So that's all connected here, so I'm just gonna attach it up maybe back here. Well, put all that work into putting the ground wire together and grounding it out here, and then I look at the outlet, and I guess I took out the grounding pin, so I did not need to do that, but that's fine. I guess it's better, I don't know, good practice. Alright, so I forgot to film putting this back in, but I went ahead and cleaned up all the wires as best I could. They're just sort of sitting back here, cable tied up. And check it out. So it works. Like I said, the variable speed thing probably doesn't, I mean, I might be able to, you know, pop it down onto a different ring of the lathe belt drive, get a different speed. To be honest, I never really changed the speed when I had this. I basically always ran at the lowest speed. So the last thing to do is to throw a bit in there and test making a hole in something. So the performance with the 1/4 inch bit was great. The performance with the 2 1/8 inch Harbor Freight bit was questionable, but what did we expect? I mean, it didn't run so well with this bit anyway with the old motor. So considering this was like $15 of hardware and I was able to bring this drill press back to life instead of having to buy a new one, I'm pretty happy with how this went. So thanks for watching.